What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to the Arrowhead News and Rumors Report. Let's discuss a few news and rumors going around. I have a special guest on. I'll leave his channel down in the description. I want everybody to go check him out and subscribe to him. But let's get into it. The first question here, a lot of stuff has been going around. Will Kansas City sign DeAndre Hopkins? He has been given offers from the Titans and Patriots. But has not signed with them yet. It's obvious he wants to sign with a contender. And then this morning, a report came out that the Buffalo Bills are looking to sign him. And he immediately took to Twitter stating just emojis, pig and poo emojis. So he definitely wants to sign with KC. That's clear. What's your take on that?
Just all the comments he's made about everything. Everybody's saying he's gonna sign with Buffalo still, but the way he's been describing that and stuff, he's definitely wanting to sign with Kansas City and play with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
Definitely, he's holding out for a reason. I mean, I wouldn't want to catch passes from Mac Jones or Will Levis or Malik Willis, that's for sure. When looks like the Chiefs might be giving him an offer up here soon. But we'll wait on that, and we'll see if D-Hop signs with a team. The next subject, Chris Jones' future extension. This has been circulating for a few months now. The Chiefs extending him would clear up of a minimum of $10 million in cap space, which would be enough to bring in DeAndre Hopkins. I think Chris Jones' extension could happen this week. But it'll clear up anywhere from $10 million to $27 million in cap space. I think it's gonna happen. What's your take on that?
The Chris Jones extension. Once we extend him, it's gonna feed millions. I mean,
Millions.
Once we extend him to at least another 4 years or so, sign D-Hop for at least a year or two, we're definitely the running contender for another Super Bowl.
Yeah, and he's 29 years old, so I know he's getting up there in age, but it just makes sense to extend him. In my opinion, you either extend him or trade him, but I want him around because the D-line is already not terrible, but not the best right now, so getting rid of Chris Jones would really just be terrible for the defensive line. So I think an extension for Chris Jones makes sense for Kansas City, and we'll see if Brett Veach does that this week, but it's been rumored that he will do that this week. So we'll see what happens with that. Next subject, let's talk about Clyde Edwards-Helaire and him possibly not wanting to be on the Chiefs roster. He did not show up to the Super Bowl parade or the White House celebration. He seems to be more into car shows than showing up at Chiefs training camp, and he seems more interested in other things than being on the Kansas City Chiefs. I've said this multiple times that I think UDFA running back Deneric Prince will take his spot this season, and I think Clyde will either be cut or traded. I just think that makes sense. As you look at his stats, he's decreased every single year. His rookie year, 803 yards with 3 touchdowns, showed some hope. Next year, 517 yards, 4 touchdowns, and then this year, 302 yards with 3 touchdowns. So he's decreased every single season, and it just makes sense for him to not come back to Kansas City. He's getting worse, and we're definitely not bringing him back after his rookie contract, but I think getting rid of him now just makes sense. What's your take on that?
Especially with Isaiah Pacheco being a really good standout running back out of the 7th round. Pacheco really not Pacheco. CEH really doesn't have a spot on the team anymore, and he wants to go to a team like the Commanders or another team who's desperately needing a running back, and he would definitely fit the scheme in Washington.
Yeah, Eric Bieniemy went there. Former offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy went there, so I could see that happening.
Yeah, and Antonio Gibson really showed some hope a couple years ago for Washington, but now he's not as good. I feel like CH could definitely be a good fit in Washington for them.
I totally agree. I think that's very possible. Eric Bieniemy and the Commanders have already taken right tackle Andrew Wiley from us in free agency, so I think trading CEH to a team for a 5th-round pick I think makes sense. I mean, I know he was a 1st-round pick, but he's proven absolutely nothing in this league, so I think a 5th-round pick is, probably what a team would pay for him. And a fifth-round pick for the Kansas City Chiefs is good, to be honest. Veach knows how to make great draft picks with his late-round picks. He knows how to get great corners out of the fourth round, seventh round. He knows how to really do a great job with his draft picks. So I think a fifth-round pick, I'm not really complaining about that, even though we weren't CEH did not turn out to be the running back we would hope he would be. But the next subject, let's talk about Kadarius Toney, and will he have 1,000 receiving yards this season? Toney last year had 171 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, but he was traded in the middle of the season to the Kansas City Chiefs before the trade deadline, so did not have a full season, and he had to learn the very, very complicated Andy Reid offensive scheme system, which is very complicated to learn. Still managed to help us in the playoffs, and I think he was a huge contributor. Having that big punt return in the Super Bowl. I think without that, I don't know if we would have won without that. But what's your take on that? I think Toney will have over 1,000 receiving yards if he's healthy. That's the main thing. He has to stay healthy. He's had a bunch of hamstring issues. So I think if he's healthy, I think there's a great chance he could get 1,000 receiving yards, but we got to see if he's healthy. What's your take on that?
I totally agree. He just has to, like you said, be healthy. If he's 100% healthy through the entire year and we do not sign DeAndre Hopkins, he's wide receiver 1, he could definitely go for over 1,200 yards, I could say.
Yeah, there was a report about that a few days ago that a lot of people are thinking he's going to have 1,200 yards at minimum, but I think everybody knows he has to stay healthy. I think he can get it done. He just got to stay healthy. So we'll see about Kadarius Toney. The wide receiver room is definitely weak right now, but it was weak last year as well, and Mahomes proved to get it done, so I'm not really worried about that. If there was a scenario where Toney were to get a season-ending injury, there'd be a little panic for Chiefs Kingdom. I don't think I'd really panic as bad as when Tyreek Hill got traded, because Pat already proved himself. He don't need great receivers. Travis Kelce's just like a receiver, and Kelsey had a great year, but Kadarius Toney has to stay healthy, and I think he can. Will Justin Ross make the roster this season, the 53-man roster, UDFA from last year? He was a projected first-round pick last in the 2022 NFL Draft, but at Clemson, all of his injuries made him go undrafted last year. So that's pretty crazy to think he was a projected first-rounder and his injuries made him go UDFA. But I think it was a great signing by the Chiefs to get him in the UDFA last year. They stashed him on IR all season because of some more injuries. But I think Justin Ross could be a very big sleeper for this team. I think he's going to make the roster because a few months ago Patrick Mahomes stated he's getting better and better and that he does like how Justin Ross is playing. So I think for the general manager and Andy Reid, I think it'd be just stupid to not put Justin Ross on the roster because your all-star quarterback said he believes in him. So I think it'd be stupid to not put him on the roster. So I think Justin Ross will have 1,000. Not 1,000 receiving yards. I think he will go on the 53-man roster. If they don't put him on, I think they'd be dumb to do that. What's your take on that?
If he doesn't make the 53-man roster, it would have to be because of injuries. Because everything I've seen so far, like videos or tweets or whatever, he's looked amazing. Just off, especially coming off injury.
Yeah. And then let's see. Well, rookie Nick Jones, rookie cornerback, 7th round, Nick Jones make the roster. You look at this cornerback room, and it's very talented with, how good Brett Veach did drafting last season. You got L'Jarius Sneed, and we're going to talk about him actually in a second. I did not add that to the list, but we're going to talk about him in a second. L'Jarius Sneed, you got Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams. Now you got Nick Jones. You got DiCaprio Bootle. You got all these good guys. And, in my opinion, I think Nick Jones will make the roster. And Chiefs Kingdom, if you go back and look at my Chiefs draft projection, I actually had us selecting Nick Jones in the 7th round, so I thought that was pretty crazy. But back to the topic, I think Nick Jones will make the roster, on the 53-man roster. I really like his play style at Ball State. I really liked how he played. And then, with L'Jarius Sneed's contract almost up, I think Brett Veach wants to test and see how Nick Jones does, because I think there's a huge possibility that maybe L'Jarius Sneed does not return next year, because in Brett Veach's era, he has never gave a second contract to a corner he's drafted, which is pretty crazy. So I think Chiefs Kingdom is hoping that streak ends, but I think there's a huge possibility he goes elsewhere, because he's going to want a big bag of money. He's proven he's worthy of it. And I'm not saying we can't pay him, but I'm saying right now, if our cap situation is like this next year, he will not be on this team next year, and that's period. So what's your take on that? Do you think Nick Jones is going to make the roster?
As of this year, I would say probably not. But if L'Jarius Sneed does end up not accepting a second contract, or if we do not offer him a second contract, I definitely think Nick Jones will be on the 53-man roster next season.
Yeah. And then, since we got a little time here, I want to bring in a subject. I want to talk about how many rings do we think Patrick Mahomes is going to have by the end of his career. He's 27 right now. He's going to be 28 in September. I think, he has a good 10 more years playing in the league. He already has 2 Super Bowl wins, been to 3. For me, I think he gets a minimum of 4 Super Bowls, but I think it's really going to be in the range from 5, 6, maybe 7. But with how stacked the AFC is, I'm thinking 5 to 6 Super Bowls in total when he ends up retiring. And what do you think? How many will he have when he retires?
Yeah, I totally agree. The AFC is getting more stacked every single year, especially with the new addition of Aaron Rodgers to the AFC East. Patrick Mahomes is going to end his career with at least 5, 6. I agree, possibly 7. Just like you said, the AFC just gets stacked more and more every year, especially if Nuke comes from Arizona and joins Kansas City. That's going to add another crazy, great player to the AFC.
Of course. Yeah, and let me add, if D-Hop does come to KC, I think the NFL better watch out, because Patrick just proved what he could do with no receivers that are good. Other than, Juju, I can't call him good. He's just, Juju kind of fell off, but Patrick did revive his career quite a bit. But he did good with, I'm gonna say, no good receivers other than Tony coming in the mid-season. So bringing in D-Hop will really help a lot. And then let's talk about when we think Travis Kelce is going to hang up the cleats. Now, he's 33 years old. I believe he's about to be 34 soon. He's either 33 or 34 right now. I think let's talk about that. Travis Kelce's getting up there in age. He's obviously heavily relied on by Patrick Mahomes, which is going to, not his play. His career is going to be shortened because of that. He's being targeted a lot. And, that's something you expect when you got no good receivers on the team. So bringing in a receiver like D-Hop could probably extend Travis Kelce's playing time in the NFL, because he's going to get less targets. He's going to have to run less and, all of that. And that'll help extend his career for sure. But for me, I think Kelce has a good, I'm going to say 2 to 3 more solid years, but I'm going to say 4 more years in the NFL. But I'm thinking 2 to 3, 1,000-yard receiving seasons. What about you?
Oh yeah, 2, 3 more prime seasons from him. I think after that he starts to descend, but still stays on the team. I think he's definitely going to try for at least 1 more Super Bowl to win before he hangs it up.
Of course, yeah, and even when Travis is he's going to play 4 more years, he's on that 3rd year. He's decreasing. He's not going to get 1,000 yards anymore. Say he's getting 400 yards. I think you want to keep him around to help develop that next tight end, because he leaves. The Chiefs might be screwed. You got Patrick Mahomes. You might have Andy Reid still. Depends on, we don't know when he's going to retire. You might be a little screwed there. So I think having Kelce around, even when he's not producing very well in stats, I think bringing him around, keeping him, would help develop the next tight end for us. And then, what do you think about that?
Especially with we have a great young tight end room. I think Blake Bell and
Woodson, Noah Gray.
Yeah, Noah Gray. There you go. if he mentors them and they like follow what he's been doing, I think we could have another great tight end room, and that'll just add a lot of help to Mahomes, especially if we do not sign D Hop and Kadarius Toney because he's still on his rookie contract, I believe. So
Yeah. And then right now, let's talk about Jerick McKinnon, the backup running back. We just signed him back to the team, I think about like a month or two ago. I think bringing him back was definitely a great move for the Chiefs. You brought him back for cheap. He's getting up there in age. There was some speculation that maybe he was going to retire this season. Let's talk about what the scenario could have been if McKinnon would have retired. What would the Chiefs running back room look like right now? You obviously have Pacheco. You'd have Deneric Prince, and you've had Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But the running back room, that would be worse, of course. McKinnon had, I believe it was 9 receiving touchdowns last season. That was more than Justin Jefferson. Think about that. How crazy is that?
yeah, he's definitely came in clutch whenever we re-signed him last year.
Definitely.
Not 9 touchdowns is just crazy for a
A
running back.
yes. And so I think bringing him back was a safe, smart move. And if he would have retired, let's say, I don't know what this running back room would look like. Obviously, you got Pacheco, but who's your RB2? Do you let the rookie UDFA Deneric Prince take that big RB2 spot, or do you let unproven Clyde Edwards-Helaire take that RB2 spot, or do you go out and get like a Samaje Perine, who is signed with the Donkeys now, but or do you trade for somebody? What would you have done?
I would have definitely put CEH at the running back 2 spot just to help Deneric Prince learn from either CEH or Pacheco.
Sure.
Then once CEH's rookie contract is up, I would definitely just let him go. And then after that, just go with whoever is in the running back room.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way that CEH returns after his rookie contract. I think there's a great 60% chance that he doesn't return this season. I think before the season starts, he probably will be cut or traded, in my opinion. But if that don't happen, he'll definitely be a mid-season trade guy or just not sign back next year. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna be back, as you said. I agree with that. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Arrowhead News and Rumors Report. I'm gonna link his YouTube channel down in the description. I want you to check out his videos. Tell them where they can find you at, and tell them when you post videos.
You guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram. I haven't. Oh yeah, we do have a Discord. He can link that in the description if he would like to. It's his channel. It's just the same username as my YouTube. I try to post every day. Depends on what I'm doing that day and how the videos are going to work. So that's my schedule and where you can find me at.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's doing a great job for covering NFL stuff. I believe he has a video of, I'm pretty sure I saw on Twitter you doing a video answering some NFL questions or something.
Oh yeah, I thought about doing that just to communicate with my community more, see how everybody was thinking.
Yeah, everybody go on his page, answer that question, and he'll probably put it in his upcoming video. But thanks for tuning in to the Arrowhead News and Rumors Report. Make sure you go subscribe to both of our channels. I appreciate you tuning in, and peace.